This episode is brought to you by Microsoft Azure. Turn your ideas into reality with an Azure free account. Get everything you need to develop apps across cloud and hybrid environments, scale workloads, create cloud-connected mobile experiences, and so much more. Discover what you can create with popular services free for 12 months. Learn more at azure.com. That's AZURE.com. And sign up for a free account to start building in the cloud today.
No brakes, no brakes, no fear, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome to another episode of British Speedway's official podcast, No Brakes, No Fear. I'm Ian Brannan, and our special guest in this week's episode is possibly the busiest man in British Speedway right now. Getting ready to mark his testimonial, we're joined by Richard Lawson.
I have a great relationship with all the clubs I've ridden for, and whenever I go back there for guest bookings or as an away rider, fans come over to me and we're always chatting and reminiscing and things like that. So, it's been good.
We've got more reaction from Monday's fixtures in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership as the Sheffield Tigers got the better of the Bellevue Aces over the course of two fixtures on Bank Holiday Monday. We hear from Dan Bewley.
Yeah, it's annoying. Be good. I feel like we're capable of putting a good result in here, but it's one of those tracks you got to commit to it, and it just wasn't our night.
And we hear from Gary May after the Plymouth Gladiators' playoff hopes were dashed.
Dan Thompson and Joe Thompson, they've really improved, and Ben's always there getting the points. Hookie's all right at the reserve and everything, We've had a good season, but it's just that number one. And I think if we'd had it, I think we would have made the playoffs, no trouble.
Hear all of these interviews in full and more, plus a full look ahead to the week coming up in British Speedway on No Brakes, No Fear.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along, and we'll start this week's episode by looking back at the action from Monday night on Bank Holiday Monday, where, of course, the Sheffield Tigers and the Bellevue Aces met twice in a day. The first leg at the National Speedway Stadium, and Sheffield eventually moving 5 points clear at the top of the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership, having the overall edge on the Roses rivals on that Bank Holiday Monday clash. It all started out at lunchtime at the National Speedway Stadium, with the Aces prevailing 48-42 in a last heat decider. The visitors pulled back from 8 points down to take it down to the wire. Josh Pickering with 15+1 in inspired form, but Ben Cook, who himself scored 11+1, and Dan Bewley, who got 12, inflicted the Australians' first defeat of the meeting in a 5-1 in Heat 15 to secure victory for the home side. Then later on, it was back to the National Speedway Stadium in front of the Eurosport cameras. The Tigers responding with an emphatic 56-34 win at Oleton in the evening, ensuring they took the aggregate point. Chris Holder bagging 15, Jack Holder 12+2, Kyle Howarth on 11, all in double figures in a powerful Sheffield performance. Let's get some reaction from that fixture then. Starting with the rider of the night, judged by Kelvin Tatum and Ollie Allen on Eurosport. Got himself a watch as well, handed to him by Phil Morris and Scott Nicholls, and Kyle Howarth spoke to Scott Nicholls straight after the meeting.
It's got the time on there, so it teaches you not to go too soon at the start.
I need to learn to tell the time. No, that Heat 15, really frustrating. I don't know the last time I touched the tapes, to be honest. So frustrating, but my fault, and take it on the chin.
Yeah, it happens, mate. Put it out of the way now, but a fantastic team performance. Everybody mucked in. Simon Said, your team manager, what's kind of his been take? Obviously, we can see here, Heat 4, you make a fantastic start there, go straight to that dirt line, and track conditions maybe a little bit greasy early on, but settled down. Yeah,
I think the weather's starting to change now, and obviously it's getting a little bit colder at night, and this track is renowned for staying a little bit greasier later on. So it just in the meeting early on, it was a little bit greasy on the outside, but as it turned over, it got a lot better.
It was a strong performance throughout, really, for the Sheffield side, with many riders getting into double figures or very close to that, such as Jason Edwards, who bagged himself 7+2 bonus from reserve. He's been speaking to Ryan Guest.
Yeah, I mean, any win's a good win, but over Bellevue it's even better, especially when you hear the Barmy Army going for it. No, like I say, everyone did it. I was impressed with Joe, because I was chatting to Darren, his dad, quite a bit, and like I say, everyone pulled their weight, and no, that's what we want.
Is it fair to say you were expecting a much tighter contest here tonight?
When any top league meetings have been a hard meeting, but like I say, Bellevue they've got some of the best riders in the league, and they always put up a really hard fight, but no, I know they're not too keen on this place.
Yeah, when you beat one of your playoff rivals, obviously both teams going to be in that top four by such a margin so close to the playoffs. How much of a psychological advantage could that potentially be if you meet again in a few weeks' time?
Yeah, but I mean, if you ask Josh, I don't think it matters, does it? But no, like I say, any win's a brilliant win, but especially this time of year, I don't think it actually matters who it is. Especially for us, it's just if we can just keep the ball rolling and keep making massive steps forward, no, we're laughing.
And for yourself individually as well, scoring in each of your programme rides as well, it was a massive step in the right direction for yourself tonight.
Yeah, I have a tendency to do well in Heat 2 and then kind of tail off after that. So, no, for me it was an absolutely massive night. And that's what I need, like I said ages ago, it's about keep learning and keep building forward. But no, I feel at the moment I'm making big step forwards and just got to keep opening the throttle.
Yeah, and for the team finally, just one regular league fixture to go away at Kings Lynn on Thursday now, and it's in your hands to finish top of the regular standings also.
Yeah, I don't have a clue what we've got to do to get there, and obviously it's a bit different, obviously first place, fourth and second and third, but like I say, we need to win at Kings Lynn because we haven't done that for a while.
Jason, well done to you and the Tigers today.
Thank you very much.
Well, it was quite a change round from that first meeting. 48-42 at lunchtime, 56-34 back at Oleton. Top scorer, though, both times for the Aces was Dan Bewley. He's also been talking to Ryan Guest.
Wasn't a night for us, really, but I don't know. It's pretty similar to Bellevue as far as bike setup and everything goes, I feel like. But, yeah, starts are important here. And, Sheffield boys, they get off the starts and, they're not a bad team either, they can all ride, so. But, so can we, but, they get out the start and they know where to ride, and, it's a tough place to come.
Until you came out as that tactical substitute in Heat 9 and won that and got the first heat advantage as well, there were no previous race winners for the Aces. Just how damaging was that start in the end?
Yeah, just not ideal. I started on one bike and... just Heat 1 here. If you make the start off 4, you're away, but if you don't, it's the end really. But I made a decent one, didn't get there, and then next race I was in second and I packed up and a bit annoying. Changed bikes, and then I think we nearly had 3 wins or whatever. But at that point, we were kind of out of it. But it's annoying. Be good. I feel like we're capable of putting a good result in here, but it's one of those tracks you got to commit to it, and it just wasn't our night.
And it is at that stage of the season there where you ideally want to be building confidence, building momentum. So how important is it now that you just forget about tonight and focus on these final few meetings before the playoffs?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I always feel good coming here. I didn't have a bad night, but just what it is. So, we'd obviously like a better result. I feel like, there was a strong chance we could end up here at the playoffs at some point, and... we'd obviously like to show, we don't want them thinking that they've got us before we even start. But as far as I'm concerned, I feel like, I know, like I've had a few good meetings here, but I feel like some of the boys, if they're more than capable of having a good one here, it's just a matter of doing it really. But we'll see. Hopefully, new day and all that. So we move on. We'll probably all got a few meetings before we come back. So bang a few points and have that one.
Dan Bewley, 13 points. Well done to yourself individually. Commiserations to the Aces.
Thank you.
The playoff picture then is almost complete. We know the 4 sides that are going to contest the playoffs: Sheffield, Leicester, Ipswich and, of course, the Bellevue Aces. The finishing order is still yet to be finalised. Sheffield are very close to sealing that top spot. If they win against Kings Lynn on Thursday, it's all done and Sheffield will finish top in that regard. First will race 4th, second will race 3rd in the playoffs. So those other positions maybe yet to be decided. We can hear now from promoter of the Sheffield Tigers, Damien Bates, with Ryan Guest.
Fabulous, really. I'd have liked to get a win at Bellevue. We were close, which is always good because Bellevue are very dominant at home. That were a good result. To come away with 6, we're happy with it. But obviously we've just dominated them here tonight, which we do a lot to a lot of teams around Alton.
Did the size of the victory surprise you a little bit here tonight?
It did, to be fair. I said to Steady after a few weeks, I didn't expect it to be so dominant, but we can do that to a lot of people at Sheffield. It's just a case, sometimes it's a bit harder, but tonight we've just seemed to have clicked and everything just went our way.
And confidence certainly high amongst the boys right now?
Oh, the confidence is massive. all of, you know, like you look at confidence Josh Pickering's got the last few weeks, he's scoring big numbers, and people like Chris and Jack are just full of confidence anyway, but even down to like Jason Edwards rode tremendous tonight, and his confidence, and when he scores better, he gets more confidence. So we're on a good crest of a wave at the moment.
And it's in your own hands, a chance to finish top of the regular ROWE Motor Oil Premiership standings as well. So a big night on Thursday still to come in the final regular league fixture.
Yeah, Kingsland's been a bit tough for us this year, to be fair, but we'll try his best. We want to finish top, but second's not end of the world. You know, it's first or second for us now, so we get to choose as leg, which we want in semi-finals, which always is a good plus. So you know, I'm happy first or second, like first, but first or second, it's makes no difference really.
Damien, congratulations to you and the Tigers tonight.
Cheers, Ryan, thanks.
As Damien Bates of the Sheffield Tigers. Meanwhile, the Birmingham Brummies ended their home campaign on a high with a 47-43 win over Ipswich to end a run of 12 successive ROWE Motor Oil Premiership defeats. Ironically, the Brummies' last victory came against the Witches at the end of May. It was Zach Cook who clinched their triumph by passing Troy Batchelor to win Heat 14. Brennan was in top form for the home side, 15+1, his haul from 6 rides, certainly helping secure that victory, whilst the Witches continue to suffer with the injury situation as they went down to a 5th successive loss. Guess Richard Lawson, who got 13+1, and Sam Masters on 10 reached double figures, with the sides due to meet again at Foxhall on Thursday. Well, we'll get an update from Richie Hawkins on the injury situation shortly. First of all, let's hear from, first time we've said it in a while, a victorious Samer Malenko.
Tonight they worked hard for it, and at the right time we got the lead, and I think that was important.
Stunning performance tonight from Tom Brennan, almost going through the car. A really dominant performance from him, but a great ride from Zach Cook too in Heat 14 to put the cherry on the cake and give it the victory.
Yeah, it was awesome that he went out there and had to earn it. You know, it was they all deserve the credit. You know, and Zach finished the deal off, and that's what's really important. And it was nice at the restart he didn't fold. He had to challenge himself and gave the fans what they wanted: good racing.
Injuries then have ravaged the Ipswich Witches' last few fixtures. Jason Doyle, of course, a long-term absentee, added with Emil Sayfutinov, also without Adam Ellis and Keenan Rue. That is going to put a hole in most teams. But with the playoffs coming up, is there any good news for the Ipswich Witches fans, and what are the plans heading into the playoffs? Have the Witches got a chance? Well, get an update on the injury situation from Richie Hawkins, the Ipswich team manager, who's been speaking to Gen X Radio in Suffolk about that topic.
Adam was hoping to be back for Monday, but he's still he's going to have another week with his concussion just to make sure he's fully right, and he just needs a little bit more rest, which with a head injury like concussion, you know, it's not something you can sort of rest, and it's not necessarily something you can put a great time scale on, because it'll be when he feels right. I know that myself with my own head injuries, so you know, that's not something we'd rush. It's not like an arm where you can sort of ride with it damaged. Keenan's a bit beat up. He's gone home back. He lives in Poland, so he's going to see his Polish doctor today. So we'll know a little bit more. But I think, you know, if he misses Monday, I'd sort of expect him to be all right for Thursday, or certainly the cup final. So that's not too bad. And Emil's, you know, he's back. He's fighting very hard to get back for the playoffs, and he's that's his plan. He's getting ready to go for it. But whether that's too soon or not, we'll too soon to tell at the moment. But the extent of the crash, it did well with coming away with what he got, but it was a severe injury what he had, and so yeah, we'll see how it heals. It's not like that's another one that's not maybe necessarily a regular injury we see in Speedo, where you know it's a collarbone or you know it's a wrist and it's going to be X amount of weeks, and so we'll play that. He's such an important rider, and you know, if he tells me in the morning of the match that he wants to race, then we'll sort it out. So he is.
And have you got a plan for the playoffs in case you don't manage to get everybody back?
Yeah, I mean, we've got kind of guests lined up, and we are trying to cover all bases. There's a few options, so we're kind of doing the best we can do, and I can just assure everyone that we'll have the best team possible out on that track.
Richie Hawkins, team manager at the Ipswich Witches. And here is how the next set of fixtures looks in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership. And Richie's Ipswich Witches will try and get that aggregate bonus points out of Birmingham. Birmingham were looking to hang on to that lead, of course. It's 43-47 at half-time as they go into that fixture on Thursday at Vauxhall. Meanwhile, we've got action at the Adrian Flux Arena. As we mentioned before, this could seal top spot for Sheffield. Kings Lynn 31, Sheffield 58. The aggregate score there, so Sheffield very much ahead on that point, and it certainly could actually depend on what happens at Oxford, because Oxford are taking on Leicester. If Leicester slip up at Oxford, Sheffield's aggregate bonus points would put them out of touch, and they would seal top spot in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership. So that top spot could be sealed on Thursday. Then looking ahead to Monday next week, one fixture in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership, the Kings Lynn Stars versus Leicester Lions, which will also be live on Eurosport and Discovery Plus on Monday night. And it's the Premiership Knockout Cup final first leg as well at Oleton. Sheffield Tigers versus the Ipswich Witches. The two sides will meet twice in a week. The second leg back at Vauxhall in a repeat of last year's final in the Knockout Cup, where the Witches were victorious, and the Witches go into that, of course, as the defending champions Monday night at Oleton. We've also got British Youth Championships on Monday night as well, 7:30 the start time for that one at Perry Bar. But that covers off the situation in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership. And one rider who's going to be involved in a number of those fixtures is Richard Lawson, who's got a very busy week on at the moment. I think he's riding every day for the next 7 or 8 days in one thing or another, not least in his own testimonial, which takes place on Sunday at Poole Stadium. And Richard Lawson joins us in the next part of No Brakes, No Fear.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
One big fixture happening at the end of this week then is at Poole, and it's taken a little bit of time to get it together because of one thing or another, but Richard Lawson's testimonial happens on Sunday the 1st of September at Poole at 5 o'clock, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But I'm pleased to say that Richard Lawson is with us right now, and a busy time of the year now for you, Richard, because playoffs confirmed for both of your sides, so hopefully a few more meetings to come then. And let's start off with the Leicester Lions, and obviously Stuart Dixon has finally got the team into the playoffs for the first time, and they've never made it this far before. So exciting times for Leicester.
Yeah, very exciting. Yeah, he did inform us of that information that he was the first to get into the playoffs. So. No, it's very, very exciting for the club, and all the riders are riding really well right now. So we're fired up and raring to go.
And coming off like last year, where it looked for so long like Leicester were, certs for it, and then of course it all fell apart at the last minute, didn't it? And I know from speaking to Stuart that he's been that's sort of lived long in the memory, and put that ghost to bed, and finally get there this time with. With time to spare as well. So you've got a few meetings now. You can sort of relax a little bit and look forward to the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. I think, we got a bit excited last year. Things were going well, and then we completely fell apart for one reason or another. But I think we learned a lot from that last year. I think Premiership Speedway's a bit different to the Championship and the move up and stuff. And I think we've got a great balance with the team this year, and we started off a little slow, but we're clicking now, so it's good.
And you've got obviously Max Frick in the side, who's ticks that Grand Prix box now. Who's found his way in probably through more of the misfortune led to Jason Doyle. But that said, I know from speaking to Kelvin Tatum when he did his podcast last week that he's fancied Leicester all through the season, and saying really that that it is a team that's built for British Speedway. You've got people like yourself, you've got Ryan Douglas, you've got Sam Masters, and obviously you've got Luke Becker now as well, and a team full of good, solid racers, if you like. You don't have to always have that ex-pedigree of being a former Grand Prix rider. When it comes to sort of knuckling down, Leicester are well built and going into the playoffs with a full team as well.
Yeah, definitely. We have that strong belief. We all know on our day that we look the top 5 in our team. We look at each other And if we're not getting paid 10 double figures, then we're disappointed with our night's work. That obviously doesn't always happen, but that's the target we've all at least got on our backs to come away from a meeting happy. And if we can all come away happy, then we're having big wins. And I think that says a lot about the team. Like you said, we haven't got barring Max, that pedigree of a GP star, but other than that, we are such a consistent and solid bunch. It's really working at the minute.
And I think, it seems to me that with the sort of injuries and setbacks that the other teams have had, and maybe a slight lack of confidence here and there as well, heading into this sort of nervy time of the season, that I think Leicester are the team that nobody wants to end up with, because those final positions are not fully set yet at the time of recording this. So you're not sure yet who you're going to ride. You could ride anybody, I think, in that top four as it stands. But I don't think anybody's going to look forward to getting Leicester and going, oh yeah, this is going to be easy. It's going to be far from it. I think Leicester would go into whatever match you have in the semi-finals as maybe not as favourites, but certainly as the team to be feared.
Well, exactly. We can only race against the people that's in front of us, and obviously Ipswich a bit depleted, but we went there and won the other week and comfortably beat them over 2 legs. Earlier on in the season, we were at Bellevue. I think we ran them to about 4. We only lost it by 4 at their place, and we well and truly beat them down at Leicester. And same again for Sheffield. We actually beat them on their home track and beat them at home. So when you look at them stats, it does look good for us in the playoffs. But this is Speedway, and anything can happen. And we know that. We've got our feet firmly on the ground, but we're kind of puffing our chests out a little bit with quite a bit of confidence.
And this season, we've seen more of the big stars, if you like, world stars like Grand Prix talent, ex-world champions, and so on, to ride against. What's it been like for you coming up against these riders? Has the Premiership as a whole sort of it looks like it's gone up a step from the outside, but what's it been like for you as a rider?
Yeah, definitely. I encourage these top guys, to come to these shows and race our tracks. It's I think it's great for the British Speedway in general, and it's a very, very competitive league, and I think it's what it's been lacking the last few years. I remember when I started off, it was the big hitters were all over here, and then it kind of dwindled away, but it's back with a vengeance. And I know I'm really happy to see that. And every meeting I go to now, there's some good racing. So I think it's only a good thing.
Yeah, it has been good, I think. And then, as we've seen, like Cardiff, was a good event as well. And that sort of sets it up nicely for next year as well. So it's going to be back in Cardiff again. So certainly things seem to be heading very much in the right direction. So that's the Leicester situation. For the Poole Pirates, well, tell us about that, because Poole had a bit of a wobble, and it's very rare, and we have to go back in the archives to find out when this last happened during August, where in the course of a week, losing away and at home, which pretty much unheard of. And prior to that, ironically, Leicester were the last team previously to get one over Poole, telling you how long ago it was. So obviously looking to steady the ship there now, to coin a bit of a pirate pun. But you're sure of the playoffs there, and I guess if you're going to have a wobble, now's the time to have it rather than in a few weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a tough night when we got beat. It was it really was. I had my worst night there that I'd had for a while, and it wasn't too disastrous. I went out and won Heat 1, then I had a couple of seconds, and then I had a good old ding dong with Scott Nichols in Heat 13, and I was on the wrong end of it, and that was my night over. So that was all I had to give, but. We all kind of dropped points where we shouldn't have, and the reserves and the second strings kind of struggled. So it was one of those nights, but I'd like to think that it would give us that bit of a reality check that we're not unbeatable, and yes, we are at the top end of the league, but if it was going to happen, now's the time for it to happen, and we can kick on from there.
Yeah, and I think, again, similar going into the playoff stages. Obviously, everybody knows what Poole's about and what they've been about over the last few years. So ever since they moved to the championship level. But again, a team that nobody's going to relish racing against. But then I think Poole, certainly with your battles, particularly with Oxford, have been quite fiery, haven't they, over the time?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, having Scott Nichols and Sam Masters as your top two, that's going to spearhead any team, and they definitely did the other week. But I think a couple of teams will look at us and maybe see a bit of chink in our armour there for having that defeat. But rest assured, we know where we slipped up, and we're still very confident, and we're definitely, we missed out a little bit on a couple of trophies last year, that the big one with the league. So we're really, really fired up to get it back.
And yeah, well, the holders, Glasgow, of course. Poole took good care of them. I think there was no doubt about the repayment of that favour, and Glasgow themselves. I mean, obviously they've got some time to go yet, but Glasgow have found life a lot more difficult, and it is hard, isn't it, when you're the team at the top and you're being shot at? It is harder to go straight back out and win a title again. Poole have done it, but it is a difficult feat.
Yeah, I know exactly. Like when I won the league. That year we had some tough matches and stuff, but we went into that final quite confident, and we won it, and everything was great. And then you come into the next year, and people, you have a huge target on your back, and everyone wants to beat you, and we couldn't repeat it last year, unfortunately. But Glasgow now got that big target, and although they weren't very high up in the league table when we raced them, we were so fired up for it. We were just like, they took what we thought was ours last year, and no matter where they were sitting in the league, we really wanted to beat them home and away. So that kind of just shows you how much pressure it does carry.
And heading into this weekend, it is going to be a big one for yourselves and the Poole Pirates, because you're in action in rapid fire heading up to your testimonial, because you'll be racing for Leicester away at Oxford on the Thursday, and then you've got a meeting on the Friday where you'll be racing for Poole up at Edinburgh, so a bit of a schlep. And then you've got the meeting on the Saturday for Poole away at Workington in the semi-final, the second leg of the semi-final of the BSN series, and then it's your testimonial. So you've got a fair bit of speedway coming up this week as you head into that.
Yeah, and I've got a guest booking on the Wednesday before that, and then I've got Kings Lynn the day after my testimonial. So it's Wednesday through till Monday with the testimonial slammed in the middle. So. I do make these decisions. But,
keeps you busy.
Yeah, definitely. But no, it's a busy spell for both teams, and looking forward to that testimonial as well.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the testimonial then, because that is Sunday, September the 1st, 5 o'clock at Poole Stadium. It's taken a bit of a while to get the show on the road, hasn't it? But now here you are, and well, tell us about the plans, because you've put together a strong lineup for the day as well for the fans.
Yeah, I wanted that. It's how I'm looking at it. It's more of a Premiership looking side than Championship, but well balanced as well, I feel. So I think there's going to be some good racing there. We couldn't really get the Grand Prix stars because Roslav is the day before, so it made getting any of the Grand Prix riders very difficult. But I've got riders in there that good friends and people I've ridden with for years, and I think that's what the day is all about. Good competitive racing and people that you want to be around. So it should be good.
Yeah, so it's a Poole Pirates, a Poole Pirates team versus like an all-star team, and so you've got obviously yourself for the Pirates. You've got Ryan Douglas, Ben Cook, Chris Harris, Sam Hagan, and Zach Cook, and number 3 TBC. Have you TBC'd yet, or is that still vacant?
Well, So initially, it was going to be Nikolai Clint, a good friend of mine, and he then obviously got injured. I'd asked him to do it, and he's like, "Yeah, put me down. Awesome, I'd love to do it." And then a few days later, he got injured, and then I spoke to him, and he couldn't do it. Then he messaged me and thought he might be fit, so we kind of left the door open for him. But unfortunately, he's not going to be fit. But we do have a couple of other options there that we haven't got quite sorted yet. But it should be a good replacement, nevertheless.
Okay, watch this space. Then your all-star team is, again, a few friends and current and previous teammates as well. You've got Sam Masters, Troy Batchelor, Charles Wright, Josh Pickering, Scott Nichols, Anders Rowe and Louis Kerr. So you're going to be going toe-to-toe with Scott Nichols again.
Yeah, he rode me so hard the last meet when we were against Oxford in both races. Which you're not supposed to do. I'm the home rider, and I said to him, "Yeah, I feel like you're bullying me here." And we had a little bit laugh and joke, but no, he's such a racer, and we always get some good battles going. So yeah, I'm looking to repay him a few favours there as well.
Fantastic stuff. And you got some of the juniors as well. So 250cc riders like Archie Rolfe, Seth Norman, Charlie Southwick and Cooper Russian as well. So some potential stars of the future on show as well, and gives them a run out at a big event. It's going to be well attended. Everything at Poole is. Even when Danny Ford's saying the crowd was terrible, I'm looking at it thinking, well, some people would kill for those numbers. But you are going to have a good turnout, I'm sure.
Yeah, hopefully. Everyone's been saying good things, and if everyone turns up that said that'll be great. I want to see as many faces out there as possible. We are actually live streaming it as well on Pirates TV, because I had so many. Because obviously I was an ex-Glasgow rider, and I had so many Glasgow fans and other clubs as well. That they wanted to watch it, and obviously it's a long way for some people, so we've got it live streamed on there. So, hopefully it goes down well.
Looking back over your career, I didn't realise that you were a relative late starter to Speedway, I guess, in many ways, because you sort of came from the motocross side of things as well, didn't you? So Speedway wasn't something you did from the age of 14 or anything. You've come over from that motocross direction as well.
Yeah, I hadn't really hadn't ridden a proper Speedway bike until I was 22, 23. It was just fully into the motocross. I was racing for a team in that and enjoying it, and never really considered Speedway. And then it was the old promoter at Workington, Keith Denham. He was scouting a few riders, and it was just a chance conversation with him, and we ended up going down there, and kind of he had one of Peter Carlson, not Peter Carlson, the legend from Wolverhampton, the ex-Workington Peter Carlson, right. One of his old bikes there, and he said, "I'll give you that, and you can kind of make a start." And a couple of weeks later, I got a shot with Red Car Cubs, and found myself at Plymouth of all places doing my first ever meeting.
Blimey!
So yeah,
what a place to start.
It was a bit of a baptism, I can tell you that. I think in my first race, there was a first bend crash, and I was in that, and it got rerun, and I was in it again. And then I didn't really know the rules of Speedway, and for the third rerun, they were saying, right, you go back out, and I was like, no, it's all right, I'll give this one a miss. Like, no, you got to go out. I was like, all right. So I went out, and I think I got about 4 points, but we went to Sittingbourne the next day, and I got paid 18, so that was a bit better.
Wow. Okay. So I think that's the thing as well, though, isn't it? I'm not sure if this is your case, but I know that there are some riders who, come across to Speedway, or maybe the grass trackers even, and they come across to regular Speedway, and they find that actually this is, if you can get some wins on the board, actually you get paid pretty well pretty quickly as well. So it's sort of attractive from that side of it sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I was actually still racing for my team in motocross when I first started doing the racing for Red Car Cubs. So I was doing the Speedway when I didn't have a motocross meeting on, and Yeah, I mean, I had nothing to pay for with the motocross. So the team was supplying the bikes and everything, but I wasn't making a great deal of money. And when they kind of, I mean, even back then, it doesn't sound like a lot now, but what they were offering me then, I was like, oh my God, I can earn this. That sounds good. So yeah, it's good incentives, and yeah, I'm so glad we got that chance opportunity.
And, you sort of touched on it before, but you've ridden for a wide variety of clubs over the course of your career. Obviously you mentioned there Workington, but Glasgow as well. You were with Somerset when they were running, and obviously Eastbourne. You've ridden for obviously Kings Lynn, Sheffield, and now obviously Leicester and Poole. So you should have... And you've guested for everybody else at some point. So there's no reason why you shouldn't have a great turnout. And obviously you've got a connection with a wide variety of clubs across British Speedway.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's been quite the journey. Like you said, I don't look at each season. I don't look to move clubs. It's kind of just it's just happened the way the cards have fell. And I can say I've never been dropped from a team. It was always just, whether it was where I was living at the time, location was easier and things like that. I have a great relationship with all the clubs I've ridden for. And, whenever I go back there for guest bookings or as an away rider, fans come over to me and we're always chatting and reminiscing and things like that. So, it's been good. It's been good.
Good stuff. Well, look, here's to a good day on the 1st of September then at Poole Stadium. 5 o'clock is the start time for the racing, and regular format, is it? You've obviously got two teams there, so is it a 15-heat job, or have you got any other twists and turns in there?
Slightly, yeah. It is a regular 15-heat format for the race meeting. Obviously, I think we're going to try and get the kids, the 4 juniors, 4 races, and then we got little Cruz Harris doing a little intro. He'll be going around at the beginning. We've got a little kids running race in the middle for any kids that want to get involved, and there might be some riders that'll take part in that. And then right at the end, we do have a Heat 16 kind of super heat, which will be the Therma Home Dash for Cash. So some of the top scoring guys in the meeting can earn a bit of dough as well.
Like it. Okay, sounds good. I think that kind of idea would be popular in any meeting.
Yeah. I just want, I want to keep the fans happy. I don't want it like a long drawn out event. I want quick, fast racing. How I would want to see an event. I don't want any. Obviously, there's hold-ups that can't be helped, but I want to keep the meeting going and something happening with the whole duration. So yeah, hopefully everyone that comes will be treated to a good day.
Yeah, and that's the other side of it, isn't it? That you get to be a promoter or a race director or whatever for the day as well. So there is that side of it. It brings its own stresses, of course, but gives you an insight into all the stuff you have to go through to put a meeting on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, I've been kind of dealing with the riders, and everything else has been left to Chantel and Nigel Lee at Poole. But yeah, Chantel's been up to her eyeballs. Fair play to her. She's done a lot of the work behind the scenes. But it's still stressful, even though I haven't done that much of the work. But even looking at it looks stressful. I don't think I'll become a promoter after my speedway racing days are over. That's for sure.
Yeah, not many riders have actually said that. I haven't. When we've done any interviews before about testimonials, I don't think any rider has ever said, "You know what? I've really enjoyed putting my meeting together, and I can't wait for a lifetime of doing this." That's never happened.
Yeah, I don't think us riders sometimes give promoters and track guys a bit of stick and not give them the credit that they due. It's there's a lot of work goes in behind the scenes, so yeah, I might be respecting them a bit more now.
Good stuff. Right, well, all the best, Richard, for the event. 1st of September at Poole Stadium, 5 o'clock. Get down there for Richard Lawson's testimonial, and all the best for the other meetings coming up. We've got quite a lot of speedway to go between now and then, and between now and the end of the season as well. So, hey, see if you get some silverware.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
So, Richard Lawson got a very busy week ahead, but not least his own testimonial on Sunday, September the 1st. It's a 5 p.m. start time at Poole Stadium. Get down there if you're in the area, or you're a Poole fan or a Leicester fan or a fan of any of the clubs that Richard has ridden for over the course of his career. But currently, of course, he's with the Poole Pirates, and with that in mind, we'll focus a little bit on the Pirates in the final part of No Brakes, No Fear next.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Running up one or two things from the Cab Direct Championship then before we go. Last week, the Oxford Cheetahs secured their place in the Cab Direct Championship playoffs after a comfortable 55-35 win over the Glasgow Tigers at Cowley. Sam Masters struck a 15-point maximum for the home side. However, came the loss of reserve Luke Colleen after a heavy Heat 8 crash to record a clear victory. The Tigers limited to just 4 race wins, Chris Harris leading the way with the point scoring, 14 points from 6 rides. But their top 4 chances are now hanging by a thread. They've still got the second part of that fixture against Oxford to come, and also a tricky meeting against the Redcar Bears and a match against their local rivals, the Edinburgh Monarchs, where they need to get pretty much maximum points out of all of those to guarantee themselves a place in the playoffs. Some of it depends on what happens with Workington, though. They have their destiny in their hands at this moment of time, and they themselves have still got to race against the Plymouth Gladiators, which would effectively secure their position in the playoffs if Glasgow are to slip up at all. Meanwhile, the Poole Pirates took a huge step towards the BSN Series final with a thumping 59-31 win over Workington in the first leg of their semi-final. The Pirates had scored 61 on the previous occasion. The Comets visited Dorset, and not far short of that mark this time around as well, as they continued their defence of the silverware. Zach Cook scored his first maximum for the club, was unbeaten from 4 rides, 9+3, whilst heat leaders Tom Brennan and Richard Lawson both scored 13+1 and were denied full houses by their own Craig Cook in Heat 15 in a strong response to last week's home defeat at Oxford. Elsewhere in the Cab Direct Championship then, it's been a busy time for the Plymouth Gladiators. They've been here, there and everywhere. They were up at Redcar on Friday night, then back down at their home track in Plymouth on Saturday as they took on the Poole Pirates, and it was Poole who collected their 5th away win in the Cab Direct Championship with a 49-41 victory at the Coliseum to end the Gladiators' playoff hopes. The league leaders trailed by 6 points at the halfway stage at the Coliseum. They turned things around with 5-1s in heats 11 and 13. The Gladiators needed a 5-1 in the last race to force a superheat. Richard Lawson and Zach Cook did the damage there as well and got the result for the Pirates. We can hear now from team manager of the Plymouth Gladiators, Gary May, speaking to Mike Boswell.
Tough night for the Gladiators, but it was close.
Yeah, it was a tough night. I couldn't get a guess. I asked 4 or 5 riders to guess and everything. I was offering good point money because you need that extra rider just to get you 5 or 6 points, which would have made the difference tonight. But I couldn't get one. I found out 4 last night on my way back from Redcar and everything. But my boys took it to them tonight, and it was only them last 3 races we just lost it really. But Poole are a good side. I think they'll clean up everything this year. That's the way it is. You know what I mean? But my boys rode really good considering the riders I had.
But it's also, looking back on the 48 hours that you've just had, they weren't that far off at Redcar either.
No, I think if we'd had a number 1, I'm not knocking Drew Kemp, he rode his heart out for me, you know what I mean? But if we'd had Nico, Nico got cleaned out by another Argentina, and I think if we had Nico for the season, I think we would have been there, you know what I mean? Because, Dan Thompson and Joe Thompson, they've really improved, and Ben's always there getting the points. Hookie's all right at the reserve and everything, you know what I mean? We've had a good season, but it's just that number 1, and I think if we'd had it, I think we would have made the playoffs, no trouble.
Exactly, and it was something like you've got to win the next 3 matches to make those playoffs. So, regroup now for next year?
Yeah, I think, we got Oxford next week. I would be like to beat them in my last home meeting, and I think we can do. I'll try and get a guess for that and that, because I think all the guests are slowing down a little bit. And then I think we got Workington away, and Redcar asked me to beat them, but it's going to be hard, you know what I mean? But I'll try my best, because I believe wherever I go, I like to put the best team out I can and do the best, for the supporters, It's no good, it's no good going everywhere with a weak team because it does everybody in. It's like we was against Glasgow the other week, right? We had the same situation. They had Chris Harris and they were strong. But I said to my boys on track walk, just give me 110%, keep talking, gate, and I'll keep talking to you as well, right? And it works. I said to Alfie, don't go drop into the curb, just go right round the outside. He won it 8. You know what I mean? And little things like that, just talk to everybody. And we beat Glasgow. You know what I mean? But we tried it again tonight, but Poole were just too strong. They got them 4 big uns and it kills us.
Definitely.
And they had Starkey, old Tubby Starkey doing well tonight.
He was there.
Tubby Starkey. I'm sure he'll thank Gary May for that. Let's hear now from Ben Cook of the Poole Pirates, also with Mike.
Ben, good win for Poole. Looked as if you kind of started out quite tough for you, but then really came good for the Poole boys tonight.
Yeah, it's it all comes down to gates. If you don't make a gate, you got no chance. So we dialed in the end, got the run of the good, decent gates, and we done it the hard way. It was a close finish, but we got the job done.
And really, the Plymouth guys, they know that is it a trick track here at Plymouth? Is there a huge home advantage for them?
I wouldn't say it's a huge home advantage. It's just all about making a start. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're out in front, no one's really going to pass you. So, it's a bit of an awkward little track, and it's just good the boys got the job done in the end. We wanted to get the win, and it is good.
For the Poole Pirates then, looking strong heading into the business end of the season. For the Plymouth Gladiators, their playoff hopes are over. They've still got a few fixtures yet to run. Let's hear from the Plymouth captain, Ben Barker.
5 out of their top 5 are all riding in 2 leagues, so they're pretty much on it all the time. I think we've only got one in our top 5 who's doing 2 leagues, so just goes to show, it's raised sharpness. We've got a great bunch of lads here, the season's coming to an end, and it's been a tough year without Nico. And I can certainly say if we had a good number 1, a lot of the places we'd have went would have been a very good side because we're so strong at the bottom end. Just a big thanks to all the fans that have come out to support us week in, week out when the results haven't been going our way, and we really do appreciate it.
And you talk about that, you look at how the riders have really developed. You've got Dan Thompson, you've got a young end to it as well, and really that strength could have been there. I think, was it 3 wins and you'd have possibly been in the playoffs? Yeah, and we lost 3 at home, and I feel we was hard done by Redcar. A couple of places we've been this year we should have won, and I had 2 meetings here where I only done 1 ride and we lost by 2 or 4, and I am sometimes pretty good round here when I'm dialed in. So it's a big, I hate letting the team down, but it's never through the lack of, I had a crash with Tom there. Do you know what I mean? It's only through the lack of trying and wanting to win. So hope Tom's okay. I'll go talk to him in a bit. I don't see the point of talking to riders in the heat of the moment. You go speak to them when everyone's calmed down and everyone knows it's just racing. Cool. And just finally, obviously you do say it's towards the end of the season. Your plans for next year, continuing on, trying to find a double-up spot? And that's what I need, I need double the meetings in this league and a double-up spot. I've still got so much more to offer. My hunger's there, my desire's there, and there's still so much more I've got to give. So while I'm still enjoying it, I'll still be going until I stop enjoying it. When I stop enjoying it, I'm finished.
Yeah, plans firmly being drawn up by many for next season already, and Ben Barker putting his message out there. He wants more Speedway, but been a bit of a disappointing end to the season for the Plymouth Gladiators, who will be hoping for better in 2025. A couple of other bits of news then to round things up. Well done to the Leicester Lion Cubs. They've clinched the National Development League title in style with away wins at Sheffield and Oxford in the space of 4 days. Reserve Max James played an integral part in those results. Scores of 14+1 at Oleton and 16+1 at Cowley, with the Lion Cubs becoming champions for the 2nd time in 3 years. There's no playoffs, of course, in the National League this year. It was just a straight league battle, and Leicester now have sealed the title. So Leicester once again champions of the National Development League. Some other bits of news for you that coming at the time of recording this, Kings Lynn are going to be without the services of the Polish racer Patrick Wodzulo for the rest of the season. He's sustained a broken hand in a crash in Poland at the weekend. He's therefore going to miss the Star's remaining fixtures, 3 of which are at the Adrian Flux Arena. We'll look at the fixtures in a moment. But he's been a strong performer for the Kings Lynn Stars, and that's hugely disappointing for him and the Kings Lynn Stars, of course. But they are going to be calling up some guest appearances as they head in towards the final parts of the season. Richard Lawson, Chris Harrison, Drew Kemp will be making guest appearances for the Kings Lynn Stars, who have captain Niels Christian Iversen back in their team, while the visitors operate ride replacement for Brady Kurtz for the fixtures coming up over the next few days, Wednesday and Thursday. Meanwhile, in the Championship, Edinburgh's Kai Thompson is out for the remainder of the season after a crash in Sweden on Monday. Thompson shattered a bone in his hand and a broken scaphoid, which is a second blow for the Monarchs after Justin Sedgman also saw his 2024 campaign come to an end when he was hurt last week, again with a broken hand, I believe, as well. X-rays at the hospital for Kai Thompson have said that he needs an operation on some of the bones affected, so that is him done for the season. So a disappointing end all round for the Edinburgh Monarchs as well at this point in the season. So before we wrap things up, let's have a look at the week ahead because, well, it's going to be an interesting week with some silverware to be won in the coming days. And here's how the fixtures look for the full week ahead. Thursday, August the 29th, it's Ipswich versus Birmingham in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership. Birmingham, of course, ahead in that one at half-time after their win on Monday. Kings Lynn versus Sheffield. Sheffield can seal top spots in that fixture if they get the win. Certainly they will be uncatchable at the top of the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership, and even if they just get the aggregate bonus point, they're 58-31 up, then depending what happens between Oxford and Leicester, then Sheffield could still seal the deal at the top of the Premiership. Oxford take on Leicester at Oxford Stadium, 37-53 in favour of Leicester for the aggregate bonus point. Friday, back to the Cab Direct Championship. It's Edinburgh versus Poole. Long trip for the Pirates. They're 10 points ahead at the midway stage. Glasgow versus Redcar at Ashfield. Redcar are 10 points ahead in that one as well. Of course, Glasgow need the points. They need to get the win and the aggregate bonus, really, if they're going to make any inroads for a late surge of securing a playoff spot, which is still possible, but they need the points on the board. Scunthorpe take on the Oxford Cheaters. Both of those teams are already assured of qualification into the playoffs, so a bit of an appetite whetter between those two and may well face each other again at some point soon. National Development League action, Bellevue versus Edinburgh at the National Speedway Stadium. Scunthorpe versus Oxford. That follows the championship fixture, so it's a double header on Friday at the Eddie Wright Raceway. And British Youth Championships take place prior to the NDL fixture, the 250cc's and 125cc's at Bellevue on Friday evening. Then Saturday, August 31st, Cab Direct Championship, Plymouth versus Oxford, and Oxford ahead in that one. That's a 7 o'clock start time. BSN Series semi-final. Workington Comets versus the Poole Pirates, and Poole have a healthy lead in that one. It's 31-59 in favour of the Pirates. That gets underway at the GT Tyres Arena at 3 p.m. British Youth Championships and the Women's British Open final take place at Leicester on Saturday at 5 p.m. And Sunday, it's Richard Lawson's testimonial, as we heard about a little earlier. That's a 5 o'clock start time. Then next Monday, September the 2nd, ROWE Motor Oil Premiership, Kings Lynn versus Leicester at 7:30. That one's on Eurosport. Premiership, we've got the Knockout Cup final between Sheffield and Ipswich, starting at Oleton at 7:30. That is the first leg of that tie, with the two sides set to meet again on Thursday at Vauxhall to fully decide it, with silverware on the line, of course. And we've got the British Youth Championships taking place at Birmingham at 7:30 on Monday. And then just looking sort of further ahead, because there's not too many fixtures in the calendar at this stage, because playoffs yet to be decided and what have you in both leagues, the top two leagues. Wednesday, we've got the Cab Direct Championship KO Cup semi-final between Oxford and Redcar, which is on Wednesday, September the 4th. And we've got Thursday, ROWE Motor Oil Premiership action between Leicester and Kings Lynn. And then it's the Knockout Cup final second leg at Vauxhall. Who will it be? Will it be Ipswich again? Or will it be Sheffield in a rerun of last year's KO Cup final? And then Friday, September 6th, Cab Direct Championship, Edinburgh versus Glasgow. We've also got Redcar versus Oxford in the KO Cup semi-final as well. So Redcar could get themselves another piece of silverware yet. You never know, having already bagged the pairs title. And then National League Riders Development Series at Berwick on Saturday, September 7th. Monday, September 9th, the Alan Graham Memorial. It's a 4-team tournament. Birmingham versus a Cradley Select versus a Wolves Select versus a Coventry Select, reuniting the West Midlands on the September the 9th, that one, Monday, at Perry Bar. OK, that brings you up to date with all the fixtures that we know of at this moment. I expect in a week from now, that calendar will be much busier with everything getting sorted out in the playoffs and in both the Premiership and the Championship, and firm plans will be made. It's a busy time of the season. Enjoy your week in Speedway. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back with another episode next week of No Brakes, No Fear. Take care. Catch you soon.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.